Hey everybody, Tom here and welcome back to another video on the Racing Joker channel. Today we are doing another car review. As promised, I wanted to do more of these, and so here we are in a 2016 BMW 340i xDrive tuned by Dinan. And since the last car we reviewed was my WRX, to put into perspective, this car has 412, 413-ish horsepower to the crank as far as I understand it. And that means that it has more than 140 horsepower than the WRX. But because this is an all-wheel drive, xDrive, we're going to be thinking about how that compares. This also is paddle shifted. This has the ZF 8 HP 8-speed gearbox. So we're going to be this will be my first proper experience dealing with paddle shifters, seeing how it feels, because I've gotten very used to driving manual, so no clutch for me. Gotta see how this feels. So yeah, Dinan 412-ish horsepower. Stock, the car will do a 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, and the quarter mile time is 12.7 at 108.3 miles an hour. This car also has the M Sport package, so it has, well, for one thing, a much better looking exterior, in my opinion. It's got better suspension and a few other goodies, some M Sport badging, this, that, and the other. Overall, a very nice spec. The spec is about $60,900 MSRP. So yeah, this car is actually pretty low mileage. It's only 17,500 miles, and we're gonna put some more miles on it. Here goes nothing. We're gonna turn off the AC by pressing the button that says AC after pressing every other button on the dashboard. So foot on the brake, press the button on the shifter, you just push it all the way forward and it puts you in reverse. And I might take my sunglasses off because we're in Houston and it's very cloudy today. First things first, I'm just going to say right now, the interior is much nicer than the WRX. I mean, obviously, you're not paying for a nice interior in the WRX. You're paying more for things like powertrain and drivetrain. But I would say, kind of like the WRX, but this is even nicer. The steering wheel in all modern BMWs, this steering wheel is a masterpiece. When I get an E46, if it's possible, I want to put this steering wheel in that car, in an E46, because that would be super nice. Here we go. It feels weird not using a clutch to make the vehicle move. There's no cars on the road, which is nice. I don't have to deal with Texas drivers. Anyone who's been in Texas will know that is not a fun experience. So right away, I'm just going to say everything's electric and a lot lighter feeling. This is not really a performance car, which means, for one thing, the suspension is not anywhere near as stiff than my car. So it's much more comfortable, despite being a lot faster, and probably handles a little bit better. And the steering wheel feels lighter. It's a little bit less grabby. Same thing with the pedals. I can't compare the clutch because there isn't one. Right now we're just keeping it in automatic mode, and it's funny. It's weird driving an automatic when you're so used to a manual, because automatics will barely even let the RPMs like rise. It'll just go shift, 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 and it makes sense because it's good for fuel consumption, I suppose. But it's just weird. It's a little surreal almost, because I don't shift that fast. Shift, shift, shift. But yeah, everything, it's okay. Another thing I should point out, sound insulation. In the WRX and most normal cars, road noise and wind noise, tire noise and all that, you hear it all the time, especially on the highway. We're not going to go on the highway. I'm not dealing with Houston highways. But this car has fantastic sound insulation. You guys, I probably don't even need this microphone for you guys to hear me. This is probably going to be some of the best audio quality ever. And yet, it's so cool. Everything from just like the creature comforts of having the electric steering, the electric pedals, and the automatic gearbox. This is a great everyday commuter car. It actually even has a motion-activated trunk feature, where if you put your foot under the bumper, a sensor will detect it, and the trunk will open as long as you're holding the key near the car. I think it's really funny that the accelerator pedal doesn't like grab anywhere near as much as, say, my car. Like, because it's electric, it feels linear, as I kind of tried to describe earlier. Because in my car, like if you push it in, that's about 5%, 10%, but as you keep going, it kind of almost exponentially increases. Whereas with this, 10% is 10% throttle, 30% is, whereas on the WRX, 30% throttle could be 40 or 50. But with this, it feels, I don't know if it necessarily makes more sense because I'm just not used to it, but it's different and it's cool, and all this electric goodness is very refined feeling. One thing I'm not used to doing is having to look at a normal speedometer, like an analog one, but when you're not wearing sunglasses, there's a heads-up display you can also use that also tells your speed there, so I can use that. If I had done this review a little later, we could have also talked about a few other modifications that will have been done to the car in the future. Like for instance, this car is eventually going to be getting a bunch of new Dinan things on it, such as the Dinan exhaust, which includes the mid-pipe and the mufflers. And then there's also going to be that weird kind of, I don't know if it's hexagonal, but the weird alien carbon fiber shaped air intake. So that'll be really cool. And that'll be kind of it, unless if you guys have some cool ideas for what can be done to this car, because I can always pass it along. And before you say it, I've already actually suggested the idea of straight piping and doing all sorts of silly things. And I was told, depending on how the video does, and if people vote for that, then why not? Why not? Why not go crazy if people think crazy is cool? I think crazy is cool. I mean, have you seen the username of my channel? So I haven't gotten very technical yet. So this car, BMW 340i, 2016, which means it is a B58, which is an inline six, and it's single turbo, twin scroll. Very, very nice. I personally love the way it spools. The power curve, especially stock, even at 330 horsepower, it will pull all the way to red line. But, you know, with this Dinan tuning package, you know, you get even more oomph, but you don't lose that awesome power delivery. I think it's hilarious that I haven't been able to find a car with a suspension that is stiffer than my WRX. Like, I've ridden in the 370Z, I've ridden in this car, and a couple other cars that are kind of sporty, but not as sporty as anything beyond the WRX. So it's like, I don't know. Oh, there's some officers up ahead with flashing lights. I'm not sure which lane they'll want me to be in. They're not flashing their lights for me. They're not flashing me. Woo! Ooh, downshifts are nice. Oh man. I think I just convinced myself paddle shifters are cool, like through personal experience, just in that one thing. Very nice open stretch of road. I'm not going to go super crazy. I just want to see how the shifting feels again. Ooh, I got a taste for blood now. Oh, oh man. Guys, all of you manual 6-speed purists out there, how can you not like that? I mean, sure, it does stuff for you, but that feels like a race car. There's a pothole there. I need to be careful of that. Oh, that's so much fun. If it weren't for sequential gearboxes and Hollinger and stuff like that, I would make the E46 a paddle shifter so that I can put the DCT from the E92 in it. Oh, man. I was not expecting that to be that cool. I knew it was cool, but holy crap. 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. This probably does less than 4 seconds. We're not going to do that here, but not only is this car fun, but it's fast. And it just hooks. The WRX, it kind of hooks, but it still spins a little bit and the tires squeal. With this, it knows what you want to do and does it. We'll go into automatic while we're downtown. Oh, guys. Paddle shifters are cool. Like, in case you haven't already guessed it, paddle shifters. Oh man, it feels like a race car. And that inline six with the turbo spooling, I don't know if you can hear that. It's not quite that obvious, but it's good. It sounds really good. Oh man, I wish you guys could see how this car is going to sound after the Dinan exhaust. Oh man. I'm super excited now, but oh man, I'm giddy. I'm really thankful that I'm not trying to do this in rush hour. And the brakes are a little squeaky. I'm still kind of getting used to the brakes. I don't have any passengers to complain about my driving, so it's like, it's okay. Can you see the dog there, guys? What's up, man? How's it going, doggo? There's a cop right there, so I'm gonna go back into automatic so that I'm not encouraged to do something stupid in someone else's car. Oh my goodness. Afternoon, constable. Nothing to see here. I'm just driving downtown. Have I mentioned how awesome this steering wheel is? The only thing I'd probably change about the interior if I was an interior designer is and a lot of people will probably agree with me on this, is that I'd have this pop-up GPS be a little bit more embedded into the dash. I know it sinks in and then it becomes more flush, but then when you're driving around, it just kind of pops out. And to some people, that's probably cool. But to me, I think it's nicer when it kind of is more part of the dash rather than like a separate tablet that's kind of all sticking out. That's kind of the only thing I change about the interior. Otherwise, it's very nice. It's very different than the WRX. It feels like there's a lot more surface area over here. And obviously, BMW, it's got leather seats instead of cotton, which has its upsides and downsides. Might be less comfortable in certain types of weather, but then it's probably a lot easier to clean than cotton. So there's that to keep in mind. So it's a bit of a trade-off. This one also has power seats and heated seats, but they hug you quite a bit, and they're very, very, very comfortable. So you don't have to worry about that. Road trips have been done in this car. Only thing you should be aware of is that if you're ever driving on a freeway with potholes and damage a wheel, it can be a little tricky to get like a replacement, because that's what happened with the owner of this particular car. Went over a pothole, wrecked, I think it was the front right wheel, and can't even imagine how frustrating that must have been. So this car has 3 different types of tires on right now. So a mismatch of all pretty nice tires, but the tires aren't going to be replaced with anything exciting until the car hits a certain mileage. Houston roads, man. I'd hate to drive in Houston in my car. Not because I'd be afraid of like doing it. It's just, it wouldn't be very comfortable. Thankfully, I'm young and my back still has a little bit of abuse to take. A little bit of abuse left in it that it can handle before it just can't. But this car is a lot better for someone who's like in their 30s, 40s, 50s, because it's a bit more forgiving to your spine. So how does the automatic gearbox... Okay. It still behaves like an automatic gearbox. Like when you floor it, it'll downshift a couple times, and then when you stop, it will start downshifting without like stalling itself, basically. So that's cool. It's weird. I'm actually surprising myself and impressing myself, patting myself on the shoulder here because I can't reach my back. But this car is not... I'm not having a lot of trouble going from manual to auto, and I thought for sure I'd have lots of issues. Let's go back into manual. That was too much fun. Okay, we're in third. Oh, that's so cool. That's just so much fun. And I like that it does the shifts, I guess, perfectly. You know, it does it right every single time. It's very consistent. Hello, officer. Cars nowadays are very fast. This is a very new car, so this has fallen victim to that kind of paradigm where new cars are very, very, very fast, very easy to speed. You know, I've talked about this before in a vlog where cars are overwhelmingly underwhelming, if that makes sense. Like the sense of speed, you know, like 100 in this car probably feels like 40 or 50 in an ordinary car like a Toyota Camry, Corolla, Chevy Cruze, what have you. But in this, it just... it's just made to do it. Oh, and it's just... it does everything you want it to. I don't know how I'm not going to do launch control, but I feel like, and even then, because this is probably a pretty nice drivetrain. I mean, it's not the same drivetrain as like the same drivetrain as the M3 and the M4, but you know, this drivetrain is probably nice enough. I'm not even sure if launch control would make the tires spin. Don't quote me on that, because the tires are also mismatched on this car right now. But if you put all Pirelli's Y-rated tires, or Y+, or whatever you want to call it, onto this car will probably just hook no matter what you do to it. And it's interesting, because I've known about the xDrive cars for a little while now, but until I knew about them, like maybe a few years ago, I didn't realize BMW even made all-wheel drive cars. So it's like why aren't these more popular? But the thing is, I also have no experience with rear-wheel drive. So I need to also experience that and see if that's better or worse, and see how it hooks compared to this, because this is surreal. I mean, if you get carried away, that's basically the sound of jail time. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm being silly here, but I'm not going crazy. That's a good note. Inline sixes, I feel like inline sixes seem to sound like they're at their best in low to mid-range RPMs. I just love the way they sound. So going into manual mode, it's probably not too different from most cars with manual and auto modes. You move the shifter to the left and it puts it into paddle mode, and that's kind of it. And then you can take control. And when you want to go into automatic and do less thinking, slide it back to the right. It's already in drive. You're good to go. Hello, Sheriff. Train tracks. Yeah. I don't know where I'm going now. The thing is, I don't live here, so I don't know where anything really is. So I'm gonna put the Houston house just as like a backup, so that when I'm ready to go to leave, I don't have to worry about anything. Let's not go into the highway, because I don't want too much road noise. It's not a slingshot. This car is turbocharged, but it's not a slingshot. You don't have to wait for the boost to spool up. It just goes. It just goes, guys. It just goes. This is less busy, so I can kind of pull over and figure out where I am and what to do next. So it doesn't do it instantly, I would say, the paddle shifters. They don't shift instantly, but you can very easily get used to how long they take to shift, and you just adjust. It's not so out of sync with what you're doing that it ruins the driving experience. Woohoo! I don't know where I am. The fun is just taking me somewhere. I want to figure out how to use the GPS system in this car so that I don't have to mess around with my phone. Give me a moment. So the one cool thing while I'm sitting here trying to figure this out is that this is not too different from how the new Toyota Supra is going to be, actually. You know, same engine, not the same drivetrain. The Supra is going to be rear-wheel drive, but it's the B58. It's got the same navigation system and all this heads-up display stuff. It's probably going to be the same as the Toyota Supra. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. It's just going to have Toyota graphics and replace the BMW graphics that are in it. Start guidance.
In 400 feet, turn right onto Hill Street.
I don't want to be listening to her voice for the whole thing. That'd be lovely.
Turn right.
No. You can't tell me what to do. Might have to figure out how to turn her voice off, otherwise it's going to get very annoying. Okay, how do I... No, stop. Okay. Oh, I just realized I haven't even put this in sport mode or anything like that. How do I turn on? Okay, it looks like we're just dealing with it. Enter the safest road. I don't know how to turn her voice off.
Turn right into the service road.
I just didn't want to get lost. But I didn't want to mess up my phone and like the audio recording software and stuff. Looks like we're going onto the highway though. We're in sport mode. All right, we're in sport mode and manual mode. We're gonna see if anything feels a little different. Train tracks.
1/4 of a mile.
Oh, that felt stiff.
I-10 west.
Shifts are a little more violent. I don't know if I'm hearing the intake or the turbo there. So not really intended, but we are on the highway now. I think we're okay to just stay in this lane though. Are we good? We'll find out. We're going to Dallas. This car really is a trip. I'm not going to mess with the dash and stuff like that, but kind of like with the WRX, there are different modes and displays on the heads-up display that will show, for example, the amount of horsepower and torque you're making, all sorts of fun stuff. So that's kind of cool. It's not useful, but it's a gimmick. I mean, okay, what's spectacular about this is I'm on the highway. In the WRX or anything like that, there'd be so much road noise I'd have to be shouting. I'm still kind of raising my voice out of force of habit, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, 2016 BMW 340i xDrive. This is a whirlwind of fun. Where is the GPS taking me now? It's taking me back onto the highway in another direction. Even in nice cars, GPSs can be a little... You can't understand them. It's like deciphering the thoughts of a madman. They're going to give you a route, but you don't quite understand how they're getting you there. You just kind of have to let go and let the voices tell you what to do. Which is great advice. Okay, so I didn't notice this before, but in sport mode, the steering wheel feels tighter. The pedals feel about the same to me, but the steering wheel feels heavier, which I don't fully understand. I feel like in a race car, you'd want as little resistance as possible while only getting a bit of response. I'm not sure. I'm not a racing driver. But I think it's interesting how in sport mode it almost feels less light and less kind of, not floaty, but less electric almost. With this, it almost feels like it's tugging at my hands, like how the WRX does. So, this is kind of funny. Not really a review of the car thought, but kind of just a review of Houston. I expected driving in Houston to be much worse. I haven't really had any bad experiences yet, but that might also just be because I'm not driving in rush hour. Again, not necessarily a sports car, it is, but this is a great luxury grand tour. It's fast. It's faster than my car, but you can have fun in it, but you can tell it was also built to be very comfortable. Well, guys, this has been the 2016 BMW 340i xDrive, and
Turn sharp to the left.
turn sharp to the left. Thank you, Skynet. This was a lot of fun. Wow. Wow. Main takeaway for me, personally, is that paddle shifters are cool. I love manual, but that was cool. We're going to do one last poll, and if there's space on the road, there might not be, but this has been Tom, yours truly, the Racing Joker, driving the 2016 BMW 340i xDrive, tuned by Dinan to have 412 or 13 horsepower. Let's go with 13 for good luck. This was awesome. All right, well, let's see if I can do one last poll to send you guys off. I will send it off by sending it. As the kids say, I'm hip. Two to 3 seconds of pulls is enough to put a smile on your face.
Turn right. Turn right.
If you're interested, there will be a link in the description below to the written version of this review. And if you want your car to be reviewed by me, there will also be a link to a form you can fill out to apply your car for a future review. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video.
Turn left.
Stay crazy, everybody.